Tadi kalau boleh tu langsung kita boleh boleh.
No, the most funny is that this cool.
अंग्रेजीमा ब्याचलर्स गरेछु.
Good enough.
That's
What's up?
That's, yeah.
So back again to episode 34. It was a special guest Ruchika and Sulabh. They are like the owners of the yoga studio in Gyanmandala called Yogalaya. So tell us about yourself, man.
Well, I am a yogi, I suppose. I was born here in Nepal, and then I was about 9 years old when I left for States. And then after that, I never came back until the age of 23. And when I came back, I met him, the grand piece. And we fell in love, and 3 years ago, I moved to Nepal, and here I am.
Got married.
Got married, and it's been about 3 months since we opened Yogalaya, actually.
How's that going?
It's going really good. Actually, we opened right after lockdown 2.0. So,
I mean the marriage.
Oh.
It's going great. I put my hands up and say it's going great.
Air. No, just kidding.
And the yoga part, I mean Yogalaya.
Yogalaya is also doing really good. You know, we actually wanted to open this because the lockdown, the pandemic, created a lot of stress and depression and all these different things in the city. So we wanted a platform for people to come and kind of feel like themselves. It's actually proper East meets the West, or West meets the East, whatever you want to say it. So, you know, in today's world, like, we see a lot of people copying the West. You know, they want to be like the Western people, right? But why not we take good things from the West, like all the good data, science, information, right? And we include that, mix it with our Eastern knowledge of Ayurveda and energetic things and then whatnot. I mean, there's so much information, not just in India and Nepal, but even China, Japan, so many different places. So we wanted to combine that and have a platform for people to experience that. So it's going really well. It's growing.
So it's more than yoga.
Yeah, it's definitely like, see, the thing is right now people think yoga is just something, you know, you sit down and do
you align the chakras.
Yeah, you align the chakras, or you know, you sit down in a pose, I could do the handstand, I could do the tree pose, but it's really not about that. Yoga is like everyday life. It's lifestyle management, really.
And also, we're not trying to push anybody towards spirituality at all. We don't follow any guru, we just follow the supreme power. Being spiritual is one's own decision, but then we're just trying to promote a good lifestyle, so that you can think through and get your life sorted.
It's kind of like, wouldn't you say you do the same thing in jiu-jitsu, right? Like energy, you work with the energy, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I felt like you guys should come on here, because we are also a bit of sports and mental health. Like, we talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
And yoga being a part of a little bit. It's on its own island, but it's not exactly a sport or something, but you're trying to channel your energy
to a right place.
Yeah, discipline. I would rather say it's about discipline.
Absolutely.
Energy, of course. Once you're disciplined, your energy obviously is aligning itself, I feel.
Exactly.
You do painting, some people fall on drinking and smoking. They're disciplined and energy is like worked up. Some people go to yoga, martial art, or even reading a book.
Yeah.
You know, so yoga or martial art, whatever, it's just, I feel it's a channel you're picking on. And it's nothing to do with spirituality. And I like it, like how you said, we don't push spirituality and stuff, because I hate it when it starts getting culty, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta wear the same pants, you gotta wear the same shirt, you gotta like you know, bow down and shit. It's like bullshit. Like, it just takes the essence of the real shit. Sorry, my language. Yoga भन्ने अलिक राम्रो बोल्नु पर्ने Om है, sorry, namaste. So you know my point. That was what I was trying to say.
Yeah, so actually, you know, our entire purpose is for people, you know, just to be a good person, right? We want to push that. I think our generation, or like generation above us or below us, even, they've been misled sort of from our elders, you know? So we just want to channel for people to be a good person. And if that's yoga, it doesn't mean that you have to be a brahmachari and like not get married ever or never drink and, you know, have beads and wear like white clothes and sit. That's not what it means.
Would you say the entire building, this one, is some sort of channel? Like everything is a channel.
Absolutely.
You can pick. You can go to any room and just like indulge in it 100%, and it will become like, be it like pump or your studio or the dance, taekwondo, whatever, jiu-jitsu. Even the Corona coffee, like it's a nice.
I guess what I see coming to this Gyanmandala community is that every room has a very good attitude. You know, it changes your attitude into doing something good,
Positive.
and it really impacts your life. You're just learning music, but then it impact your whole life. You just learn jiu-jitsu, it'll impact your whole life.
Exactly.
You drink wine and it'll impact your whole life.
Yeah, there's a new wine shop downstairs.
And talking about that, I should quickly talk about this place where people might be thinking, sorry, I don't know about tea types. We're not in a bhatti right now. We're at this place called Annamaya. And they're like a vegan restaurant, but like they don't force veganism on you if you come here.
Exactly.
There's nothing have to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing have to do. It's a free world.
But you guys are talking about like Western culture being like so influenced on us. Because don't you think like it's because we are force fed that same shit? Because as you open the TV or listen to the radio,
Exactly.
Media. That's exactly what it is. Media. You know, like we
Instagram.
Sorry, exactly.
I mean, there's so many things, movies, songs, everybody wants to like, you know, you look at all the pageants, right? They're following the Western culture. And who are all the pageants, like all the followers of the pageants and things like that? It's all the local
people from Glamour.
So they follow that, you know, everywhere it's a copy, everything is a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. So everybody just wants to be like that, you know? They're not looking inside and seeing who am I, what am I good for? Like, you know, they have their own essence, but they're not tapping into that because they're so an autopilot that they just want to be like that. So I think
that in some way dulls your creativity too, right? Like the way you express yourself or something.
Absolutely, there's a good and a bad. You know, I think it's just recognizing when you don't overdo it. So like boundaries, right? Like if you're following something so much that you forget who you are or you forget to look at yourself, it causes depression in the long run. So if you can take some of the good things,
why is it because of loss of identity or something?
It could be one of the.
No, I think once you start doing it, you're challenging your own real values. You know, you should not challenge your values. You should keep your values and also observe the Western culture, observe all kind of new things, but then always remember your
embrace
values.
your own culture.
Yeah, like be knowledgeable, be aware, be an observer.
Feel your gut. You know, have your values inside.
That's from the psychological perspective.
Correct.
If you look at it, but if you go deep down, just in the biological, what it is basically obviously it's endorphins being released when you work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good feeling is when you go through a rigorous or even a mild workout. You like it's like taking
serotonin
drugs.
and dopamine.
It's like what cocaine, you know what I'm saying? There's a burst of same shit, dopamine and serotonin, like you said.
But see, the thing is that is possible without having to do that. You can do that. You can be happy. Like I think everyone is in search of happiness by following those things. But you know that's not true happiness. There's nothing wrong by following. But just know that you're not going to get happiness by trying to chase those things, right? You're able to create that happiness from within, that euphoric feeling that you get when you are maybe, like you said, in cocaine or like, you know, doing some workout.
Not that I've done cocaine.
No, I'm just saying.
Just for
according to the studies.
For my mom who's like watching this.
Yeah.
After some point, it becomes very difficult for you to differentiate. There's no fine line between what is good, what is bad. And after some point, it becomes subjective to like something good for me could be bad for someone else.
Exactly.
And then the thing that you mentioned about like Western culture and Eastern culture fusing, I think that's been happening since a long time. Ever since like colonial reign and stuff. Yeah. Since then, we've seen that they're superior in every way in terms of technology, everything else, right? And I think that's when it started to go in that direction where like we're following this people from this region, and then it's been carried on, and then still like it's still evident. And now because of social media and all the marketing tactics that they use, tactics that they use, it's very difficult for a regular person who's not aware, let's say, not aware as much, to differentiate. You know, like, this is good, this is bad, and they're bombarded with so much content. You know, every day, like. If you open your phone, there's like so many videos and content that you're being bombarded with, and then you open your laptop, same thing, right? TikTok, especially, so submersive here, immersive. You open your app, and then there's a video automatically play.
Right.
And then, what I'm trying to say is like very difficult for an average person to differentiate what is good, what is bad, or whether do they have the time to, sit and analyze. This is good, this is bad.
See, that's exactly what it is. Our world, I think, is just in such a fast-paced motion, one thing after another, after another, after another. What that does is it clouds our mind, We don't take that time out enough to sit and relax ourselves to where everything is just so clearly seen. So that's exactly why, proper tactics of meditation and yoga comes in, what allows you to kind of sit with yourself, and then you can go, do whatever you want. Like some people find it in guitar, piano, singing, dancing, whatever it is, like a sport. Then you find your zen. But for you to be able to do that, you have to kind of come into that zen mode first to understand, are you breathing? You've got 2 nostrils, right? Did you know that when you breathe out, maybe one nostril is actually not breathing out enough air? So breathe out into your hand. You can feel it. One nostril is maybe breathing out more air than the other.
My right nostril.
So see, exactly. So just being able to even balance your breath, you can come to that.
That translates to outside life too.
Absolutely.
With your relations, social relation, work. Even while driving, people who have worked out, at least release their energy someplace, they're more calmer. After a session or jiu-jitsu or something, I'm so calm. Even if someone crosses me or hits whatever vehicle, I'm like, okay, it's alright, dude.
No, it's really a thing, I'm habitual of working out every day. There are days when I cannot work out for 2-3 days at a stretch. I get damn irritated, with the traffic people, with the working staff, with each and everything. But then I cannot put the blame on anyone. It's me who have to put myself under control. So how do I do that? I run. I just run and get that thing out of me, and then all of a sudden
so much better
the whole vibration.
Good version of you comes out.
See, and the thing is, he also practices yoga.
Yeah, you last time you were telling me you recently got yourself into yoga, right? Not recently, I mean
on and off. Balance गरेर see, I won't lie, I like working out, gym भयो, clubs भयो, running भयो, तर flexibility मा अलिकति compromise भइरहेको थियो कि गर्दा गर्दाखेरि मैले के गरेछु भने वीकमा 2-3 चोटी योगा गर्दिनी अनि 3-4 चोटी आफ्नो रेगुलर एक्सरसाइज वेट लिफ्टिङ डम्बलहरु गरेपछि I feel my body very balanced, सबै ठाउँ किनभने one thing I've realized, it's my own experience, हैन बडी भरि हाम्रो इमोसन्स हुन्छ ठाउँ ठाउँमा हिप्समा इमोसन हुन्छ चेस्टमा इमोसन हुन्छ सोरनेस भन्छ नि हामीहरु त्यो चाहिँ हामीले स्ट्रेच गर्यो भने योगामा त्यो इमोसन आउट भएपछि यु फिल मोर रिल्याक्स कि होल बडी पार्ट फिल्स रिल्याक्स त्यो गरेपछि अलिकति अझै आफूले ब्यालेन्स गर्न थालिसक्यो के मैले अरु थिङहरु पनि छ ब्यालेन्स गर्न तर नेक्स्ट एपिसोड
Actually, के हुँदो रहेछ भने हाम्रो body is our environment, हाम्रो body यस्तो छ कि environment मा के भइराछ कि हाम्रो जसरी angry भयो भने when we're angry हाम्रो सास चाहिँ एकदमै सानो हुन्छ नि shallow हुन्छ. If you've noticed, we're breathing very very fast, right? And if you're on a vacation beach, you're laying down एकदम मजाले, you don't even remember, you're just so relaxed, breathing slowly, deeply, right, softly. So what happens is हाम्रो यो breathले गर्दा जब environmentally effect गर्छ यो breath त्यस्तो हुन्छ हामीले notice पनि गरेर आउँदैन के. So this breath actually allows for our body मा जुन energy हुन्छ नि जुन प्राण भन्छ नि हामीले, the very thing that keeps us alive, like when a person dies, that thing is that leaves the body, right? So that pran, that actual energy is going in our body, right? Is माथि तल गरेर आउँछ. त्यसले चाहिँ blockages form गर्न थाल्छ किनकि यो breathले राम्ररी oxygen पुगाइरा छैन कि to a certain part of your body. So that energy, that blockage, sorry, it's a little deep.
No. I was just thinking who was the guy who wrote that down?
It'd be really nice. I'd like to meet him too.
Because that thought came from somewhere through experience, right? It didn't come through just
experience and experiment, watching other people, this, that.
But if we did die, like, but who came back from death to write it down? This is what I'm saying. Like.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about that. There's
Buddha,
yeah, exactly. So this is a whole topic now of
this
like
Shastra,
like all of them. And then even in China, they have so many theories similar to this, right? And then even in Japan, like they have so many theories like similar. So all over the Eastern culture, I feel like they have these kind of things that people experience in different realms, you know.
But don't you think like the breathing heavy when you're like pissed off or something is the body's defense mechanism, like trying to cope up with a like situation, like your body trying to get ready for something to happen if it happens.
Like, oh yeah, I think everybody is different, you know, in that manner. So when you're angry, some people just want to like knock you out, right? And some people just want to leave and be alone. So I think that a defense mechanism is like different on everybody. But मैले चाहिँ के भन्न खोजे भने त्यो एङ्ग्री त्यो हाम्रो सास जब राम्ररी पुग्दैन नि बडी भित्र लाइक ब्लडमा सो द एनर्जी ब्लकेजेस हुन्छ कि त्यो ब्लकेजले गर्दा हाम्रो इमोसन्स जस्तो हि सेड नो लाइक द मसल्सहरू बडी पार्ट्सहरूमा जाम हुन्छ इट्स लाइक स्टिफनेस आउँछ अनि what yoga actually does is you're stretching it in a systematic way and you're breathing in such a rhythmic way that your energy blockage like खोलिदिन्छ अनि त्यो खोलेपछि your brain actually gets more oxygen, right? So you're able to think clearly, more clearly. So that's what I was saying earlier. Na yoga गर्ने बेलामा यो सब भएपछि you actually can do anything in this life, like whatever, guitar if you would like to play, you want to go mountain biking, this, that, like you at least have that awareness के भित्र.
It's like a superpower feel like guitar.
Your building was all rounder with it. ससाङ्कर मात्रै बाँकी छ योगा गर्नुको लागि उनले सब भ्याइदिन्छ होइन This is like I get this guy for yoga. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thanks for letting us use
Thank you, bro.
Thank you. And
Annamaya
food is really good, huh? Like
so,
hands down.
I have a question, sorry, since you were talking about Annamaya.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because I noticed so much. I mean, I've met through travel and everything. I know people who do yoga a lot. Why do you think it's so synonymous with going vegan?
Well, that's because, you know, yogis believe...
Is there a plug there? Is there a switch? Like once you start breathing so hard, there's a switch?
No, I think that's...
Because my dear friend Pranay, man, like we used to eat meat like here in Bangalore.
Okay.
But one day he just started doing yoga and next thing I know he's a vegan. I'm like, I have nothing against vegans. We have nothing against vegans.
Right.
We're right in a vegan restaurant,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So I eat food here and all. It's just I want to know, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so in my perspective,
what
in my opinion, right? Like I think veganism has become more of a trend now than it used to be ever. But the reason that I could tell you is people like when you start practicing yoga, you just want to detox your body, right? Of all the things that are affecting your energy. Like even when you eat meat, I don't know if you know this, but you know, whatever the way the animal was killed in a certain way, the animal has that energy in its muscles, right? So when you cook that and you eat, you kind of transferring that energy into your body. So that concept is there in yoga. So a lot of people really feel sensitive to this energy. So they start eliminating it.
He was like totally surprised.
I can see him like cringing. That's how I do it. Like,
Pranay is telling the same thing. The way you eat the meat also, like you tear it off.
Yeah, but it's all expressions. You know,
it's just like all about energy, to be honest.
Energy.
Don't you think it's because it originated in India?
What?
Like yoga and stuff originated in India, right?
Yeah, but then see, they eat so much dairy. They have ghee, so much ghee everywhere. You know, vegan money.
But South Indian food is basically vegan, right?
Yeah, mostly.
I lived in South India for some years. I was eating South Indian food and I didn't notice I was vegan. Like dosa, vegan, right?
Hashtag vegan.
They have the best dosas.
Yeah. So my point was, sorry.
No.
Because in India, there is some vegetarians, right? And then I think because yoga originated here, I think that like carried it along with.
No, I don't think so, because you know, actually we're from Rajasthan originally, Haryana, Rajasthan, our ancestors are right now. So we did a research. Why do our parents force us to be vegetarians? Like, you know, why do we have to grow up being a vegetarian? And then we found out, like in the 14th and 15th centuries, even our forefathers weren't vegetarians. They were cutting horses, you know. So I don't know what happened with the whole vegetarianism, veganism whole thing.
But like veganism is like, I feel it's nice, but I hate it when people shove it down, you know.
Yeah,
It's a nice thing. You can try. I'm all about we are all about experimenting, man.
Right.
We have nothing against, and we are up to experiment yoga. Like I said, we're gonna
join a class.
Yeah, do a class, see what's it about, right?
Yeah.
We have nothing, no prejudice, nothing. It's
talking about yoga and religion, talking about my religion itself, Hinduism and yoga go hand to hand, because I read some texts and all, because Hinduism is not actually a religion as it started.
Yeah,
it's a lifestyle actually.
Philosophy.
It's a way of
philosophy.
Life. It's a way of life, how you live your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you wake up in the morning, you wash, you take a cold bath,
you cleanse yourself. Exactly, and you pray to the sun because you get energy from the sun. I mean, think about it for 1 second, huh? Like if it wasn't for the sun, nothing would be alive. The earth wouldn't be alive. Like the sun, it gives energy to our plants. It gives energy to everything.
Photosynthesis.
Yeah, exactly.
that
was a hard
word.
So anyway, so that's you 100%
There's no
right.
lunar namaskar or something like that.
They do have Chandra Namaskar. They do have that. But either way, what I'm saying is you're 100% right. It used to be philosophy, and somehow everything became a religion.
It turned into a business.
Religion
has become a business now.
100%.
There was one temple in South India, Venkatesh or something.
Mysore.
No, Tirupati.
Tirupati, sorry,
Yeah, Tirupati.
They were crores in a day, man.
Yeah, dude. We've been there, we've seen
I was there, the line was it starts at the bottom of the hill.
I'll tell you one thing, see, honestly, we've been to temples in India and we've been to temples in Nepal. But then we see Nepal temples are much more organic,
towards
people,
faith.
Yeah, they're not trying to make money. But then, sorry, no offense, but then in India, I think it's a pure goddamn.
Yes, offense. So, alright, man. Yeah.
So I think
that's another whole
But then for what I see, yoga
business.
So you guys doing a Tirtha Yatra or something?
No. Was here and there.
We're just traveling. We're not too far away, so we're like, alright, let's go.
Chaudhary group ko cha ni na.
Sashwadam.
Yeah, even that I heard it earns a lot.
Yeah, it does.
By looking at the amount of people that go in every day, even during the lockdown.
But that temple which I went to in that South India, what was it called again?
Tirupati,
yeah, man. That was crazy amount of people, man.
But the food is really good too, huh?
Yeah, all veg.
The coffee.
Even the Chandragiri has gone public or something. Right?
Yeah.
Let's go business!
But people spend 3-4 days, man, to get
Holy shares.
Holy shares, man. The dividends so damn me, also, right?
Holy cheers.
That was something to talk about, guys.
Actually, they've got that bar there. But
I've applied.
yeah.
I've applied. Holy shares. So, alright,
we're talking about yoga being a form of just self-realization. When people come to do asanas, yoga actually has so many different parts. That eight different sutras they call it. And asana is just one small part.
Jutsu. Sutra means jutsu.
No, I suddenly thought
I know.
Yoga got this.
I know what you thought.
I didn't think of Kama Sutra.
You said it!
No, you gave me that look.
I did not.
You gave me that. I know what you're thinking. I was thinking of okay, so if I come to class, if I'm a regular at yoga, do I have to remember these things?
No, absolutely not.
If you're interested, you're going out of your way.
I'm just kind of sharing these things, people may not know about them.
I'll tell you what, she knows yoga. I do not know yoga. I'm a common man. I don't know anything what is happening. I just go sit down. I just go sit down
and stretch
and
yourself.
I see the instructor. Whatever the
she's-
instructor is instructing, I just do it and I feel happy and that's it. I continue with my own life. It's just that moment of 1.5 hours of happiness which I really appreciate, and it makes a big change in my life which really counts, at the end.
Do you think it's the same thing when people play video games also, for 1.5 hours?
Could be, man.
Yes,
let's kill some dudes online.
I game every day.
He has to, like, he gets home, he's like,
hey, you
let me
recognize that title.
Title song that was
GTA?
Is that GTA music?
and then there are a lot of my nephews and cousins here and there who like smaller than us.
Nice.
And we just talk about GTA. You know, they are so into GTA. I'm into GTA, and then I think I'm having a real conversation now.
Yeah, even like GTA is such a game.
Just
GTA, you can really
you can express yourself.
Yeah,
You know, actually, I really like his garage collection in GTA. He's got like all these cars, and I'm like, babe, let's get this one to fly. You know, he's got a flying car.
Yeah.
He's like
On
so
records,
into
I
it.
play GTA online, not the regular one, not the story mode.
But it's good, man. Those guys,
That's like Wild West.
Rockstar games are like really good.
Virtual
What's the other game then, like GTA?
And yes, to remind you guys, if you play GTA online, they have yoga.
Yoga, exactly. I was gonna say that.
And there's an instructor who teaches you yoga in that, and then you just have to follow the poses, and then they actually have buttons to press to breathe in and to breathe out.
Yeah.
I'll do the mainstream one, not the yoga.
Yoga for life.
के भन्छ GTA मा they're getting their first female character lead role के भन्छ protagonist in their next GTA 6 or something.
So like all
To
in
GTA.
all, you know.
To GTA. Grand Theft Auto.
We can take a break.
Yes.
We can take a break.
Okay.
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
You want some chapstick?
Nah, man. I'm good.
Baby sauce.
Cupcake flavored.
So we were talking about it, you know, like what made you get into yoga? Like seriously.
So I don't punch my boyfriend in the face.
Like you in US, right? Was it because like trying to like get in touch with the culture or something?
You know, honestly, I didn't really even know where yoga came from when I was out there. All these Gori people teaching me Om. When they started teaching me Om, I was like, dude, this is my thing. What are you doing? Like, you know. but no offense to all of you guys, you know, with all due respect, they're the ones who taught me yoga first, and that's how I got into it. So it was very like relaxing for me, and I was not like really, you know, like I said. So my friend and I, we discussed this together. When we practice yoga, we don't want to punch our boyfriends in the face, you know. So it was kind of like a mental
keeping yourself in check.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like stab him at night.
and saying no offense all the time. Everybody.
No offense.
No, but I do say, you know, like I do tell his friends, like all the single guys out there, if you want like a stable girl, like come to yoga. And if your girl's not stable, if your girl's not stable, we'll make her stable. Yeah. It goes for guys too, you know. If you want a stable man, come to our classes. You find a nice, stable, mentally stable.
That's some marketing, guys.
You think like yoga is like पहिलाको कुरा हैन के भन्छ
go ahead.
It's been there for a long time.
Yeah. Actually, it came from our culture, you know, and it was like this Swami Vivekananda ji, he went to US and he started spreading yoga, and at that time when he went, he faced a lot of racism and all these things he had to go through. But either way, he spread it, and then all the foreigners, they felt like, you know, Bill Clinton, all the famous Hollywood stars, they started training with him, and they started feeling the difference that it was making in their life. They were more productive, therefore the business was better. So because of that, yoga became famous, really, right? And so then came the Bikram yoga, the infamous, and that kind of has its own story. Yeah,
Bikram yoga. But every publicity is good publicity.
Right.
Talk about publicity, man. This drink.
Actually, before we go, kombucha. This is very nice. Can you like briefly say what this is?
So actually, this is a technique. It's not really the ingredients, right? So it's got turmeric, it's got green tea, it's got raw honey, ginger, really and
nice,
lemon.
I'm enjoying it.
And it's good for your body, you know. And the reason that we don't serve it really hot is because the ingredients already makes your body warm. So if you have hot and the ingredients are already warming your body up, then that's like really not the best for your body. So what happens is, like, you know, you're drinking, slowly the effect starts coming, like, you know, the benefits.
So you shouldn't chug.
You can chug if you want, but the thing is that it's not very hot for that reason. So if you chugged, you'd be okay.
And also,
so kombucha, man. This is like kombucha made in Nepal. Like
do you guys drink kombuchas?
Yeah.
It's
but
good,
you know,
man.
I don't really know what the benefit really is of the.
It helps in your digestive system and
it's
stuff.
like liquid kimchi type.
Yeah.
But I haven't felt anything.
Yeah, man. But for me, it was like I needed it like few tries before I got like.
You can take better shit and shit, right?
Yeah, but now I prefer this over like
your bowel movements. I don't know. I'm just.
Oh, like yeah. It has that bacteria, right? Like that's a probiotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really
gut health and stuff.
Yeah, but I prefer drinking this over like soft drinks. Like no, man.
See, I making
agree.
A change
I think
he's trying to make a change. I think we should give him applaud. You know. He's trying to change.
I do agree with you on that. It's better than soft drinks for sure.
Yeah.
And.
So
alcohol. What's your stance on alcohol? Since like you teach about lifestyle, that's not just yoga.
Yeah. So you know,
moderation. Do you think moderation is the key or not? Like be a teetotaler?
Yeah, of course. I think moderation is the key. You kind of have to be in tune with your own body. If it's harming your body and you know it's harming your body, then why are you having it, right? And if your body can digest it...
You let him a couple of pints now and then.
I mean, it's not that I let him. He's his own, individual choices. But he can...
I'm just messing. I'm not trying to pry it. I'm just making a joke, sorry.
No, but he could drink, how much...
Yeah, I mean, whenever we are off for vacation, weddings, it's not that we're a chronic drinker like the generation above us. Like, a generation above us, they usually sit down as soon as it's 6 p.m, take a bottle, sit down, have 4-5 drinks, watch TV, sleep. Next day again they have the same schedule. But
my granddad used to do that. My dad
I've seen a lot of people of generation ahead of us. But then right now, in our generation is different. Like I don't see people sitting and drinking alone all the time. We just drink to socialize, I guess. What do you think on that?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big difference of which I have noticed,
And then it's up to everybody that, individual, once you start being aware that it's not doing good for your body, then you stop. Until then, you don't force anything, I say.
And smoking?
I'm
just talking about vices,
smoking obviously has its effects on the lungs, right? So what yoga does...
I mean, marijuana. Because, again, veganism, smoking is also kind of synonymous with yoga. I feel psychedelics, like mushrooms.
See, I wouldn't be able to tell you a whole lot about it because I guess I don't have that much experience in that field. But
we do it.
I'm sure you can get those similar effects, when you do yoga. And meditation especially. Yoga is a form of physical activity, but then
the mental zone.
I think meditation can take you to that
meditation is just a word. It doesn't mean anything. Meditation actually... It's being meditative, right? It's being in the meditative state.
Like flow state, right?
Flow state. So you could actually be doing yoga and be meditating at the same time.
It's just being in the present.
You being aware.
I mean, right now I feel the previous session, the time passed so fast. I felt it was 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was almost 30 minutes.
Right.
That I feel is kind of a flow. At least for me. I was like, kichiro time goes.
Because
so I think, sorry.
Unpopular opinion, but when I play basketball too, when I get in the zone, I feel like it's a meditative state.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you get in the zone, Zen feeling,
time goes really fast, and then you're enjoying each and every moment of it.
And you're being present in the moment too, right?
Yeah.
More than anything else.
As a max all the way, but flow state.
Yeah, so meditative is just a state of being, it clears your mind so you can see things as they are and you can maximize your experience in life because, life, they say you only live once, but I like to believe you only die once. So you gotta live every moment.
It's like Galvin and Hobbes.
Agi, we were talking about Kama Sutra. It's part of yoga too, right? I mean, sutra means style or something .
So it's a very systematic way. It's a systematic, in my opinion, actually. Then again, okay, it's a systematic way of doing things to reach its full potential, right? So it's just a systematic way you're doing it in a mindful light. So it's a way. There's a system. There's a way to do it in a very mindful aspect. The energetic aspect is there. So you receive full benefits spiritually and physically.
Sign him up!
But unfortunately, we do not teach that.
Yet.
Because if you go to Goa market on the beach, they were practicing some
No, the thing is, I think sexual education should be a thing, but then people just try to take it in a wrong way and people don't want to talk about it. But it's a very interesting chapter, and I think Kama Sutra should be one of the teachings, but people just make fun out of it.
Like syllabus.
No, honestly, sorry, I think you should know about these things, like it's a very
deep
thing, and something which can increase the knowledge and pleasure on both the side. If both the male and a female or whosoever, like there are so many genders and sexual things happening that it should be taught, to kids. Now,
as long as it's a taboo, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, exactly. It's a taboo
especially
now.
In our part of the world. Right?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many people who take it in an odd way, but then
even us, if we had to talk about it, we'll giggle and shit.
We'll be like, But then, to be honest, like we were having a conversation with one of the, I say Guru only, and we were talking about Gurukul, when there were no schools and all, and we go back to that Ayurvedic,
1800s
Vedic age of Ramayana. Say they had Gurukuls. They used to teach about Kama Sutra. It was a syllabus for children. They had to know about a woman's orgasm, male orgasm, and how to get your
enhance the
pleasure to both the people who are participating in
so that had to be done before you became like an adult, like before the age of 18. You needed to know all these things, right? So it used to be normal, like very normal, and people were happier.
Where did it go wrong?
I think because of the Britishers. They took the Gurukuls away and then they started their own English style of schooling.
Amitabh was in pictures of that. Gurukul and
Anushashan.
sleazy music teacher. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe that's what I want.
So I think that is where the whole
colonialism. I don't get it, man. How do you think that?
No, because there was Gurukul kind of studies happening, and then you see the Britishers
Western education
invaded, and then they stopped Gurukul because they had their reasons. Because people were much more smarter than who were into Gurukul. They knew how to respect the soil, respect the environment, respect the
They were
culture.
more in touch with nature.
They uprooted the entire society.
Exactly.
I mean, like they were endorsing communalism, like Hindus and Muslims and Sikhs, right? And dividing and shit.
That's where a lot of things went wrong.
That's where like
Shastra, Sabe Bandagara, they started teaching their own English vision of teaching. So I think that made a lot of difference, and that is where we lost all the information and turned towards more into Western.
China they are burning their पहिलाको history books and all. They want to forget their. China has a bad history of like everybody invading them and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, they are trying to completely erase their history and forget about how Koreans, the Japanese, and the British and all ransacked Chinese for years. And now their mindset is only like that guy. We don't ask us about our past. We are about now, bro.
China has been. It's just been like 50 years that
they're playing the game of like long term, bro. They don't give a shit.
No, I think we visited China last year, 2019. Although I go for business, but then we went together. Like went for work for 2 days and we traveled China for 10 days.
Yeah.
What we notice is that there are very small set of people who really are stuck with their own culture and to harvest their own culture. But then a majority of Chinese people are into capitalism. They want to make money. They want to buy big houses. They want to buy big cars. They want to travel. They are just about money, like no offense again.
But then
even they have tried capturing.
What you gotta say, bro?
Kathmandu Mapani, I saw a lot of Chinese people. They cannot. They were trying to hack our banking system. Getting money from the ATM.
This Korean kitchen, I feel They pose as Koreans, but I think they're like Chinese
Have
hackers.
you guys seen them in Tamil? There's a whole street it's
Tamil,
Chinese, but
Chinese
nothing is written in
Nothing is
English.
in Nepali or English.
Yeah.
That Roadhouse Lane.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
उता साइनबोर्डहरु पनि चाइनिजमा छ.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even in
Little
English.
China. And it happened in a span of like 1 to 2 years. त्यो भन्दा अगाडि त केही थिएन उता. मेरो साथीले पनि आफ्नो घर रेन्टमा दियो, उसको घर भित्र पनि जस्तो भ्यान्डलिजम गर्यो, यो गर्यो, and then they just took off, and then we're just trying to sort things out. How did this happen? The guy who were on the Chinese side was a Nepalese guy. He said कि तपाईं यो सबैहरुमा नलाग्नु, there's a big game happening, you should understand, just try to settle this off. So I mean,
they're sent by the government to.
Exactly, that's what we also kind of sort of think, but let's not.
It was a big thing, but then
spy agency.
Looking at these things, people are going more towards making money, taking shortcuts, doing this, doing that. But then if you eventually develop your own self, have a good attitude about making things work, you can grow naturally by taking small steps, at a time, slowly.
So you were saying you went to business. What business besides endorsing yoga?
We're into textiles. Mona Lisa.
Oh, okay. I've seen that somewhere, man. Airport Niro.
I know. Yo.
Mona Lisa, I've seen it. S with the S.
It's in Bhatbhateni and Topic.
Okay.
Shooting and shooting.
Old recent ramen because I've seen
food.
Mona Lisa on the Fireside was he?
Yeah, Bhushan Dal.
Yeah,
he was once one of our brand ambassadors.
And speaking of this knowledge, right? You guys were talking how all this ancient knowledge was it's burning down and stuff. Yoga was also, it used to be that way. It used to be sacred knowledge that wouldn't be passed down until the guru thought the student was ready to get the information. So we're really lucky. I don't even know how we got that, and I don't even know if this is all of it. The information that we have today, because I feel there's so much more information that was lost.
But don't you think before the Britishers came, there was also education was given only to a certain caste or something?
That was there.
Casteism was there. No?
Yeah.
Because only Kshatriyas or Brahmins were allowed to practice some arts, and some lower caste apparently they weren't allowed to get education.
Yeah.
The untouchables Gandhile
हटाएको थियो.
उनीहरुको
टाइममा उनीहरुको आफ्नै फ्लस छ, हाम्रो टाइममा हाम्रो फ्लस त अब हुने नै हो. We just have to balance things out.
Exactly.
And think about the society. It's all about giving, than taking.
I think we have to be more conscious of what we're doing.
Yes, everyone didn't get education money.
So because they came in, then there was
equality. If you look at it in a positive way, how the British came on. Negative the but positive.
I mean, there's the development कति भयो नि त. तिनीहरुले गर्दा नेपालमा आएन हेर. के भयो?
नेपालमा आउन दिएन actually.
आउन दिएन. Sherpas and all
not Sherpas actually, the Bhimsen Thapa.
The Gurkhas, the Gurkhas.
So I think because of the British, India became a more unified country. Because of
exactly.
The enemy.
Sticks and stones may break your bones.
It's a friend type also. So all because पहिला India पनि small countries and
it would have been European countries, country.
But because everything was under East India Company, so unified with it. I mean, there were certain parts which.
But for a certain time, Bangladesh सँगै थियो नि India सँगै.
East Pakistan.
For 2 years.
It was East Pakistan पहिला.
Before.
Okay.
After
East Pakistan.
That was the most weird thing British did, man. Made Pakistan and East.
That was not British.
That was the whole way of trying to
divide and rule.
Divide. India that was the Mahatma Gandhi le gayo divide ta. Pakistan like free गरेको Mahatma Gandhi le गर्यो. That's why Nathuram got security, हैन?
I know that.
Guys, you guys know the history better than I do, man.
We studied in India actually.
No, it's
weird.
Mountbatten, wasn't.
Okay.
Lord Mountbatten.
Yeah, he was the main guy who orchestrated the dividings and the partition where so many people died. That was
But then there's so much information.
I was
there's so many things we can learn from history, looking at things, and we are from a smart generation where we should evaluate,
Exactly.
what went wrong, what went right, and I think We have all sorts of information. We have Google, and we can just go through a lot of things and evaluate things on our own and lead a very good life, for us and for the generation that is gonna come ahead. I think education is the most important thing. Right ethics, right values.
Yep.
But then someone who's grown up midway through this point in like technology and transformation and stuff, someone who's not grown up using technology, and now you have this phone which can just like reach out anywhere. You're a little more confused. A generation that's growing up right now with technology, I think they have that awareness to differentiate what is good, what is bad. So to some extent, but then someone who doesn't, like, for example, our parents, when they got hold of Facebook, they were on Facebook all the time, and they felt like whatever they saw on Facebook was the truth. But then Facebook, what they said, got the fake news spread like that.
Yeah. Right.
It's very difficult for them. But then the generation that's coming up right now, I think they're more aware.
Even like internet isn't the killer for yoga business, because people just watch video and try to emulate.
No, I mean, yes and no. I
Because
don't
everybody
know.
I ask like, what do you do? They say yoga. I say, where do you go? They say
Online.
YouTube.
Right.
I'm like, okay, like.
No, I mean, like, I think that, if people can practice yoga, like, everybody tells me, what if the studio opens up another 5 minutes from here? I said, they're good, I can't teach everybody in Nepal yoga. And my philosophy is, like, everybody should practice yoga for their own good, right? For their own sake. So each person in the community affects the other person, even though you think they don't. So, for example, like, if you're in a good mood, you go home, you're going to be in a better mood, right? With your parents or sister, brother, spouse. And that affects them in a good way. And then they go somewhere, they spread more happiness. So it's kind of like how COVID spread. Our energy is just as contagious. Like, we can spread that. We just don't see it with our eyes. But that's how it works. So, I mean, I think that everybody as a whole, we need to rise up a little. And like he said, our generation is smart. So we should really do something about it. And that's why we have Yogalaya. Like, we really want to focus on the other things, right? Like, I don't know if you guys see what's happening in the world with the plastic things, right? It's really killing, like, a lot of the ocean animals. And not just that, but it's really, like, our soil is not that great anymore to grow food.
Our rivers are like a landlocked country, so we don't usually...
Our rivers are not clean. There are so many steps that we have to take,
No, we are like a landlocked country, so we don't have a sea.
And with masks and all,
but it's really...
more, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
mean,
you see a turtle's face with plastic on his head. Us Nepalese people, we see dogs with that picture so much because we don't have turtles, right?
See, I'll tell you. No, I know. But, it's actually, I used to think the same way. I'm not going to deny it. But it's like, the thing is that our entire world works in an ecosystem, right? So have you guys noticed there is not enough snow in the Himalayas this winter? It's December and there is like barely any snow. And it's not like people say global warming is a huge term, but what does that exactly mean, right? Because we're not getting enough rain. There's a lot of forests and plants that have been cut down, even in Nepal, right here.
The
Because the Nishgar airport they're building.
They haven't started, but
they're
But they've cut down so many trees for that.
They only require less land,
Like
but then they're trying to cut so many
Like
lands.
on the way, they've cut down trees.
Wood
Like
mafia.
on the
But
back.
like Mount Everest height बढ्यो भनेको हैन अघि भर्खर न्यूज पेपरमा पढ्दै थियो
848.50.
So
like snow.
really, it did.
Yeah,
Like,
it increased
Like point some
centimeters.
yeah, not even some a few centimeters.
2 centimeters.
But all I'm
meters
trying
or
to
centimeters.
Centimeters.
centimeter. So all I'm trying to say,
But then
like,
yes, we have to. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Go.
So like what I'm saying is just it's a cycle that runs. We don't see it, we don't know about it, but it's that science that goes behind. Like what keeps us alive, the humanity, the human race.
We have one shout out to make to Lalitpur municipality.
Yes.
We see difference between Kathmandu. We see difference between Lalitpur. Lalitpur streets are like lit. There's lights on the main road, and as soon as we cross the
bridge,
Thapathili pool, there's no lights. There are very few.
South side.
Exactly.
And in our Lalitpur area,
It's cleaner.
Center.
it's cleaner. The streets are so clean. Once you go to Kathmandu, the streets are
Yeah,
still
since you're talking about pollution, I'm not the air quality ke tan Kathmandu ko.
burning smell on you already, right?
With the mask on too,
Yeah.
And we are not even a big city like Delhi or Karachi or something.
Yeah.
And it's beating all of them. It's like first.
By a lot, get them.
Intense, bro. We
Something
die
has
like
to be
this,
done,
man.
ultimately.
I mean, more so, bro. 50 or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's like a bowl, like Kathmandu, and we are breathing that fumes and dust and
it's like
greenhouse effect, not letting it go out, and the wind cannot take it out too. And यही माथि जान हैन त्यो तल अस्ति हिमालयजहरु देख्दैन नि हामीलाई त त्यो स्मोक के गर्दा. But if you go up the hills, it's so damn dex. And you can see a clear layer that's like you're breathing inside.
Like, you know, area but
is it good or bad?
Fucked up, bro.
Yeah, it's fucked up. You can see a layer, you're so right.
And the last, sorry.
It's like about Kathmandu journey, like Nepal go sabai u tyo like in a administrative way. The Kathmandu city spread now, okay, has. There's like very limited amount of land. Everyone wants to live here. Everyone wants to build get a house over here. They want to work over here.
That's the Nepali
dream. True though, eh?
There's like always some construction going on somewhere. There's like so much garbage, waste, openly burned.
Famous jokes are Nepali people's favorite pastime. Man, khande baby.
Yeah. So if there was an Olympics for digging, the Nepali gold, silver, bronze.
Individual, dual, medley, something.
Talk about Yogalaya again, you know. You guys started during the pandemic, right? What do you guys like? Let's say for virtual classes.
No, we never like started with virtual classes. Like there are a lot of people doing virtual classes, but we actually believe in like in presence, you know, like doing classes in person. Because there's a certain vibe that holds the space, there's a certain vibe that teacher holds, and that somehow affects the student in a very different manner. Like, and the other thing about like this technology, you know, you're talking about it, practicing something mindful or sleeping next to technology, it really does affect with our brain waves too. If you look at it a little bit deeper, you know, I don't know if you guys want to get into all of that, but it actually does affect, you know, like if you guys try it for a week, sleeping without technology around you, you guys will notice a difference. So there is that part of it also. So I mean, we believe in a little more in person, but if we can,
5G is also coming.
But if no problem, like if there is that's the only option, then I think you should go for like, online classes too. Like right now, we teach online classes to schools, right? Like right now we're teaching Gyanmandala online classes.
So they have a school curriculum, like.
Curriculum was you know, because of the pandemic, the kids are getting really slow and they're lazy because they're always in front of the TV, right? So the principal of the school and actually Nirakar Daya's mom, they came up with this idea, why not teaching kids yoga, and they're giving it to them complimentary so the kids can relax and be more focused. That's and it's actually, and what we're doing there, we're not teaching them how to do frog pose or this pose or that pose. But we're teaching them, like, you know, how to mindfully live your life, how to act and react, your behavior, you know, things like that. Because I feel like teaching your generation, like teenagers even, right now the parents are also very confused. So they're not able to correctly teach them, you know, when you're sad, how should you act? Or when you're angry, how should you react? Or, you know, respond.
But so we learn that like ourselves, right?
Yeah, exactly. And some kids don't have any direction, you know. Okay. So that's kind of what we want to do. The kids who don't have direction also, we refine their learning a little more. And it's just really all done through mindfulness.
Are kids getting slower? Or like, because it's so like it's like self-instinctive on you, like, or did we stay in hostel and we picked up from other guys?
Yeah, I think we grew up in hostel, man. We take so many things for granted. Okay?
No, like in our generation only, we had very few technology back then. Like whoever are born in 90s, technology was just coming up.
Yeah.
Video games were coming up, but then we were more into outdoor sports and all. But right now, it is really a problem. You know, they are stuck with their TV and booba, this, that. They want to be on their iPad, phones.
Chota Bheem.
Chota Bheem. Actually, that's a good show, huh? I watch it with
but they're really glued to the television, you know.
In this day and time, like, it's understandable also because you can make a legit career out of playing games and streaming.
I mean, that's one in like millions, bro.
No, but it's growing with our. That
it has its own plus and minus.
Like a PUBG player, like
exactly.
I'm not talking about that 4K gaming. I'm talking about there's a like
certain steady
teams and they like playing tournaments and they win World Cups and all.
Oh, I see.
See, I think it all comes down to balance, right? Like you can be in front of the computer, play your video game, but you gotta get some sun. You gotta get out there, you know. So it's about balance.
Allah sir.
के भन्छ त्यही त काठमाडौँको अहिले प्लास्टिक pollution भन्नु साउन्ड नोइज त हामीले गर्दा
नोइज पोल्युसन भइरहेको छ नि हर्नहरूले गर्दा
के बीचमा रुल दिने के हर्न
अहिले बन्द भइसक्यो त्यो
ए यु क्यान honk
बन्द भएन people stop
honking
people I think he was the first one okay
I have no
that's before yoga
during yoga
something I would like to put on box 101 is like bikes taking like trying to overtake from the left side.
Yes, sir,
because
that sucks, man.
We can turn to the left and next thing you see there's a bike coming from
गाडी कुदाउँदा त काठमाडौँमा सिधा भन्दा पनि त्यो लेफ्ट पेरिफेरल भिजन बेसी चल्छ
पेरिफेरल भिजन बढी
बेसी चल्छ
impatient हुन्छ है गाडी चलायो भन्दा I'm just like trying not to curse there after every turn.
Yeah, people curse.
बाटो भरि त plastic. So using something on plastic, how are you trying to make
So we actually at Yogalaya, we're minimizing the use of plastic as much as we can, and we really believe in that. Be the change we wish to see in the world, and hopefully people can understand why we say that. With the plastic, it's really hard to break it down. It doesn't get destroyed. It takes millions of years, So in like the last 30 years, if you notice, like the earth has changed quite a bit. Nepal itself, let's just take Nepal for example. Like Nepal also has changed so much, right? Like, but there wasn't as I will tell you my experience. I left Nepal when I was like, it was in 2000, like right after the king got assassinated, right? Yeah, like 2001. So anyway, when we left, like I remember it's a beautiful, like Kathmandu is so beautiful. You could see all the 4 mountains. Like the pollution wasn't really there. Like the rivers were better looking than they are now. I guarantee that. So what happened like in those last 20 years or 30 years? It was, I think, the technology boom that happened, right? Like, so computers started...
It was a consumer market.
Consumer market, but it all happened because of technological boom. Because you remember the first computer that came? I don't know if you guys like remember when the first computer came in the house, right? We were all so excited. There was one computer. It was one computer and everybody was just so excited. And now, like, if you look at the household, everybody has their own computer. Right? Like, but nobody... So my point is that like now we've become a consumer market because now every household, like every member has at least 2 phones or devices, a smartphone and a computer, laptop, iPad, blah blah blah, all that, right? All of those things are made with plastic, most of them. And then again, we think about the cars, like so many cars, the population has increased. And so therefore there's an increase in cars as well. All the parts that go into cars made with plastic. We never think that plastic is being made in all of these things, right? We think, okay, it's just a bag, like that's plastic. But all of this has increased the make of plastic, which in return has damaged our planet as a whole in these years because they're not degradable. Like you cannot break it down and it's not able to compose.
But then what's the alternative?
So alternative, I think you have to find that, if you can, we have to find that, like, because it's been introduced, something that is kind of like a drug, like, it's been introduced to us that we cannot reverse that experience.
Like we are so used to it being the
taxes increase,
like so easy, accessible, like plastics in any like form.
Yeah, but like, plastic is not just the issue, right? It's so
ironical, like stores like
electricity, electric cars and
stores like Bhatbhatini and all, they like promote don't use plastics, but all the products
are plastic. Yeah,
it's in big.
I think that's just CSR.
That's a big irony, right?
Hypocrisy,
Yeah, exactly.
CSR.
I agree.
They just want to sell extra bags.
Yeah,
exactly. And that bags cost like $35-40.
Like,
so this change has to come from
like I think the change only comes as a good substitute like this. The work we need to talk to some scientists and say like, dude.
Exactly. Also the thing that like I was talking to them, it's like our population of our country that can actually make a difference. They don't have the time to think about pollution and all that stuff. They're hungry.
Exactly, yeah.
They're like cold. Pollution so this is like the people that can actually make a difference. Say so अब अनि हामीले अब बागान सफा गरेर कति भयो त्यो खोला सफा गरेर
7-8 वर्ष चाहिँ सुरुदेखि
every Sunday Saturday
यता खोला सफा गरेर चाहिँ माथि चाहिँ फोहोर फालिरहेछ
त्यही त
No, we were having a really good conversation, you know, before. Like, there, as you said, there are a lot of like we guys are privileged to have all kind of facility to even think about pollution and environment. But then, as you said, a lot of people have no time to think. They want to feed their stomachs first. Chow chow khai, then pack you.
Yeah.
Chow packet, tea, that's the one. Masala packet. I'm like.
So you said something, you know, as we are privileged, and we're educated at some level, it's our job somewhere or the other to educate the uneducated, right?
Yeah.
To provide a platform for them to understand, okay, what is waste? First of all, I'm creating it, banale. And then second of all, how do I segregate it, or how is it affecting my environment? And like for us, those of us who are privileged and we do have the means to make it happen, like we should start with ourselves and our community, our home, you know, but with our parents and our sisters and brothers and like siblings, whatever, and our friend circle, and therefore and thereon, and then you kind of get to the community. So I don't think you can make a change in somebody else's community unless you do it at your own place, your own life, in your own house.
Charity begins.
So I think it really comes down to understanding what can you do with the waste management, segregate
places
waste.
like organic waste, non-organic waste,
and then that's also there's exactly, so you can use waste for like getting energy, you know, like you can generate energy from waste. So like a lot of the food that you eat that's like fruit, vegetable, you know, covers and things like that, you can build compost out of that, right? And I know of Singapore, what they do, they have actually a room where like underground room, they take all their waste that cannot be degradable or like, you know, used again, and they burn it like with some chemical, whatever, and they somehow get rid of it. So that's how, like, that's one of the reasons why the city is also very clean. So we just have to figure out these ways and implement them. Like talking about it and complaining about it is also not going to get us anywhere until we actually take that action, you know.
Substitute better, like sustainable, like
for me, you know, like I see pollution as a problem, global warming, etc. But then, because we're going through a technological transformation, and the entire world is going through that, and everywhere we see a problem, we fix it with technology. So I think in the grand scheme of things, and rather than looking for a way to minimize stuff, because we won't get it back. There are certain animals that are extinct forever. There are certain places that will be gone forever. No, the fertility or but I think with technology, I think we can bring it back. Cloning or whatever.
अनि यो algae-बाट पनि धेरै कुराहरू उनीहरूले बनाइरहेछ नि
we only focus on हुन्छ नि लाइक अब यस्तो के रे घटाउनु पर्छ मात्रै सोचिरहेछ के I think there should be a way to think about like so solution चाहिँ के हो पनि के like technology, how can we fix that, you know? अब पानी फोहोर भयो यताको पानी, we can maybe like cleanse another source of water which is like very dirty, but then there may be some technology that can completely filter.
But I have something to contradict, है टेक्नोलोजी भन्दा पनि हाम्रो दिमाग ठीक हुनु पर्यो के
I think it goes hand in hand though.
Yeah.
People staying in Switzerland, there are people staying in Switzerland also, right? But then their waters are so clean. They to preserve, they understand how important a water river is. उनीहरूले प्रिजर्भ गरिरहेको छ, हामी त टेक इट फर ग्रान्टेड. यहाँबाट है यो फाल्यो उता त्यो फाल्यो, त्यो चाहिँ हाम्रो दिमागबाट चेन्ज गर्नु.
But maybe because there is no like proper disposable place.
अनि काठमाडौँ मात्रै हो है, पोखराहरू त सफा छ त.
पोखराहरू सफा छ.
हामी यो काठमाडौँ बबलमा मात्रै.
मैले अघि भने लाइक काठमाडौँ is too much pressure for a small amount of space. Like everyone wants to come over to
if you go right out of Kathmandu, it's so nice.
Yeah,
it's
like open spaces. I mean, यहाँ त अब घरको त्यो बिचको त wall, एकजनाले त wall पनि बनाउनु पर्दैन क्या, एकजनाले wall बनाएर पुग्छ. किन बनाउनु पर्यो त्यो टाँसिरहेछ घर क्या, अब कुन चाहिँ त्यो
त्यहीबाट बिल्ड हुँदैन पिलर.
बिचारा एकजना बडीले झ्याल बनाएर हुन्छ अर्कोले आउँछ यहाँनिर यसो
झ्याल खोल्यो भित्ताले.
त्यो साइड अफ द भित्तामा झ्याल पनि हुँदैन नि, पाउँदैन नि
हैन. अब फेरि लाइक अब कस्तो त्यो टेक्निकल लजहरू छ क्या, अब कसैको घर जोडेको छ हैन, अनि उसले चाहिँ यहाँ झ्याल बनाउनु पाउँदैन उसको टेरेसमा अलिकति माथि बनाउनु पर्छ funny, just make it not possible to make houses that close, right?
Coming back to Yogalaya, Ruchika.
Yeah, so we invite everyone to, join us. You guys come join
invite everyone
us.
as in us, everyone or like
you guys and everyone who's listening to us right now, yeah? So हामीले चाहिँ अब नयाँ classes पनि introduce गर्दैछौँ. We're doing like contemporary dancing with yoga, so like we're adding a little more fun. Like our entire purpose is like, live your best life, just enjoy, maximize your experience, be happy, spread love.
And be mindful at the same time.
Be mindful at the same time.
Keep on it.
Talk about environment. Talking about environment.
Oh, yeah.
These are organic rolling papers. These are organic rolling papers.
That one.
So yeah, they are like sponsors, I know, for the video.
Appreciated Lid and Mr. Manav. I know.
So yeah, these are like pre-roll joints which you can buy at cheers.com.
Shell of a joint.
Pre-roll cigarettes for tobacco use.
And you use it?
That's awesome threesome, man. Every awesome threesome, every packet, there are like 3 rolling papers and 3 roaches. And
this is better than all.
I'm getting used to this pre-roll thing, man, because
I'm getting used to that tree.
That's pretty awesome. That's the
and it's available in select stores.
Like link in the description.
I know. Kun dokanharu huncha bhane.
KK store ma चाहिँ like
KK Mart.
KK Mart ma चाहिँ KK Mart and Thamel ma like bunch of places.
Balbetini ma छैन.
Balbetini ma छैन.
Balbetini.
Show me the Balbetini money.
Keep up, man.
So guys, I want to thank you for having us. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
But definitely anybody who wants to come and experience a difference in lifestyle, come check us out. I hope that when you walk through that door in my studio, you guys, something inside of you changes for better.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll connect.
We'll come check it out.
Yeah.
We'll come check it out, dude. Also, like, more thanks to Annamaya and this entire building for making this possible and just have us sit
Yes,
here.
thank you to Nirakar Dai.
Alright.
Nirakar Dai. Yeah, man, I can't wait to stretch and get some yoga someday soon.
Yeah, we'll connect and
seriously, for me, like, to injury mitigation and all this.
It actually helps with like your injury skills.
Yeah, these are joints here, a little more mobility. This hand is less mobile than this hand, this leg, there's something that I need to like.
Which hand are you moving?
This hand is less mobile. No, like, you gotta twist this way, right? Sometimes somebody's trying to twist it this way, and I have less range of motion.
And for your spine too, it's really good flexing.
The lift,
like detoxing your intestines and stuff,
Why?
Because you're more active with your left.
Nah, man, it is what it is. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so
thanks to your
much.
brother.
Like I feel like there was so much that had to be said. It was like perfect opportunity for us to,
We just touched the surface, though.
Yeah.
We can revisit it. Revisit it soon. But I would really like for you guys to come down here.
Definitely.